As the chairman alluded to, I'm a former judge, former prosecutor like you. In the justice system, we strive, whether we're prosecutor, defense attorney, judge, we strive for the goal of fairness. Whatever happens, whether it's a hearing on a search warrant, whether it's a criminal case, we strive for fairness. And things must not only be fair in the justice system, they got to look fair. And if they don't look fair, that's to us in the system, like you, just as bad as if it weren't fair. Prosecutors, when I was one, I had the rule, as you have, that prosecutors must seek justice, not convictions. That's our role when we were a prosecutor. Tried a lot of cases, and lawyers always wanted to know from the prospective jurors if they're biased, for or against one side. If they're biased, it's happy trails. They can't serve on the jury. So in this case, and it may not be an exact analogy, but here we have a jury taking place on a case. And we find out 5 of the jurors are biased for whoever they're investigating or hearing a criminal case. Neither side would tolerate that. They could not be involved in that proceeding. And in some cases, if we're proceeding in a trial and the jury's biased in the outset, there's a mistrial. We may try it again, or it may be dismissed with prejudice, depending on the severity of the bias. But in this case, we got 2 named individuals, Page and Struck. We know who they are. We know what they've done, all of the things that you've mentioned. But there are also 3 other unnamed biased people based on your investigation, 1 lawyer and 2 other FBI agents. What are their names?
So as I mentioned earlier, Congressman, the request has come in from the committee to give their names. We went to the FBI. The FBI raised a concern because they work on counterintelligence matters. And we are working with the committee to try and get the information you've asked for to the
So the FBI does not want their names released.
Correct.
And so the FBI makes the decision as to who those other 3 biased people are, and they say, we're not telling you because of some other internal reason on what they also work on, counterintelligence, right, which, whatever that means to whoever's hearing it. So my point is, we let the FBI determine not to tell us who the other 3 biased people were in this 500-page investigation that we all now have. Does that seem a little odd to you? I'm just asking your opinion.
Yeah, no, and there's a legitimate request, reasonable request from the committee, and I don't think it is a final decision at this point from the FBI, or, in my view, a final decision. It's something I'm looking forward to working with the committee to try and get the answers to, because I completely understand what the interest is of the committee in getting that information.
Well, it just seems to me that in the name of fairness, we ought to know the names of those 3 people who you determined were biased in this investigation that has taken place, this 18th-month investigation that you have been working on. I think that's fairness, and I think the American public would like to know who they are. I think in this issue, changing gears a little bit to Comey, he has done a great disservice to the reputation of the FBI. I mean, when FBI agents would walk in my courtroom back in Texas, you know, the jury wanted to stand up and say the pledge because they just trusted what they were going to say. I think now those days are over because the investigation is must not only be fair, it has to look fair, and it no longer looks fair as to what the FBI is doing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.